in past years, there have been so many questions that have been asked on the theme of international organizations, institutions, and associations. For example, in 2022, there was a question on rapid financing instrument and rapid credit facility. There was a question in 2020 with respect to G20. Then on BRICS, there was question on global financial stability report, and many more questions are also there on same theme. One important thing is that all these organizations, associations, or institutions were in news. Therefore, in this particular video, we are going to cover all the important organizations, associations that have been in news in last 1 year. And for this particular video, we are going to use the principal reference of Hindu and Indian Express, but some other sources also we are going to include here. Now let's get started and let's see the first initiative. So there was partners in the Blue Pacific that was in news. This is an article from Indian Express newspaper. So what is this partners in Blue Pacific? Now this particular initiative is a US led initiative. It is a initiative where there are 5 member countries. Which 5 member countries are there? So there is US, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and Japan. Number one thing is that India is not the part of partners in Blue Pacific. This organization was created in 2022, and this particular organization aims to counter the Chinese presence in Pacific. Under this particular organization, these 5 member countries, they are going to enhance their diplomatic ties with Pacific nation countries. Also, they are going to provide them economic assistance so that their dependency on China gets reduced. Now, this particular association, it is an informal association, means that it does not have a specific preamble, it does not have a specific secretariat or headquarters. So, this is the partners in the Blue Pacific. So it is to dilute the Chinese aggression in Pacific Ocean. Now moving on to the next article. So the next we have is GANHRI. There have been multiple developments in this particular respect. In fact, 1 week back also there was an article on GANHRI that was in the Hindu newspaper. So let's discuss about it. So basically, GANHRI stands for Global Alliance of National Human Right Institution. Global Alliance of National Human Right Institution. It is a partner of United Nation. In past, questions have been asked asking that a particular body is a partner or a member of UN or not. So it is a partner of UN, and what it does, it gives accreditation to the human right councils of the different country. Now guys, you know that in India, we have the Human Rights Commission that was created in 1993, whose responsibility is to safeguard the human rights in India. So different countries have their human rights commissions, and if they want to represent themselves in the United Nations, they need to get an accreditation by the GANHRI. So what does the GANHRI does? It gives accreditation to the human rights commissions across the world. Now India's accreditation was rejected by GANHRI. So what happened? So for the second time, India's National Human Rights Commission's accreditation was rejected. Why it was rejected? Because of the fact that they say that there is too much of political interference in the India's National Human Rights Commission. And also it has been said that there are human rights violations that have happened. There is poor cooperation with civil society. Because of that, India's National Human Rights Commission was not given accreditation, and without this accreditation, India's NHRC will not be able to represent itself in United Nations. So therefore, GANHRI was in news. Now let's discuss some more points with respect to GANHRI also. So it was established way back in 1993 as International Coordinating Committee of National Institutions. Its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, and it has membership of 120 national human rights institutions. Okay. Now, what is the highest decision-making body? Highest decision-making body is General Assembly. Okay, and also it works on Paris Principles. That were adopted by UN General Assembly. These Paris Principles are the minimum principles with respect to the human rights that have to be followed by the member countries. So if question comes with respect to Paris Principle and GANHRI, What these principles are? Principles are for human rights. So this is about the GANHRI. Now moving on to next article. Moving on to next, that is United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Now, recently it was in news for multiple reasons, and one reason was that India's representative was criticized because India's representative said that the concept of indigenous people is not applicable to India. Now, that is not the important aspect. Important aspect is the details with respect to United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. Now, this is a UN body. This is a UN body, and recently its a 23rd session was held. 23rd session was held. Now, it drawed attention to indigenous issues globally. For example, indigenous people, they have been responsible for environmental conservation, but they don't have ownership on the lands and resources. So therefore, we need to recognize the ownership of indigenous people over the lands and resources. Now, basically, basically, United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. It was established way back in 2000 by United Nations Economic and Social Council, UNECOSOC. Now, on UNECOSOC, question has been asked in the mains examination also. UNECOSOC is one of a principal organization, or it is one of a principal body under United Nations. Okay. Now, it serves as a high-level advisory bodies to the UNECOSOC, and the headquarter is in New York, US. Now, this UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issue, it has 16 independent experts on the issues that impact the indigenous people. Okay, and these independent experts, they are appointed for a term of 3 years. Also, guys, when we talk about indigenous people, there is United Nations Declaration on Rights of Indigenous People, that is also there, and India has signed as well as ratified this United Nations Declaration on Indigenous People. Okay, so it was in news. Now, as we have discussed about the UNECOSOC, let's discuss about the UNECOSOC also. Now, guys, UNECOSOC is a principal body or principal organization under the United Nations. United Nations was also in news, and ECOSOC was also in news. First of all, United Nations. So, Minister of External Affairs calls for an accountable, objective and transparent United Nations Security Council. And guys, India has said that in fact entire United Nations is to be reformed. And for reform of United Nations as an entire body, India has adopted norms approach. India has adopted the norms approach. What does the norms means? It means new orientation for reformed multilateral system. New orientation for reformed multilateral system. So if a question comes in examination asking that recently norms was in news, it is related to what? It is related to G20, it is related to World Bank, it is related to UN. So you need to know that it is related to UN. And what it is talking about? It is talking about the reformed multilateral system in which developing countries, least developed countries need to be given more representation. Now, when we talk about United Nations, so basically United Nations was founded in 1945. It has 193 member states, and it was founded on the basis of UN Charter of 1945. What it aims to promote? It aims to promote international cooperation. It aims to maintain peace, security amongst the member countries. Now it has 6 principal organs. Okay, it used to have 6 principal organs, that is General Assembly, UN Security Council, Economic and Social Council that we just discussed, International Court of Justice, UN Secretariat, and Trusteeship Council. But this Trusteeship Council, it ceased to operate in 1994. So now it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 principal organs. Originally there were 6, but Trusteeship Council has ceased its operation. Now, moving on. So article was with respect to United Nations Security Council. Now, basically, guys, what happened? UNSC was in news also because of 2 developments. Number 1, India has declared its candidature under UNSC for the non-permanent member category for the year 28-29. And also, guys, recently India's term got over in UNSC as a non-permanent member also. So, one term got over, and for the next term, that is 28-29, India has applied. So this was that it was in news, and also for reforms it was in news. Now, when we talk about United Nations Security Council, it consists 15 members. It consists of 15 members. Out of this 15 members, 5 are permanent members. You already be knowing about it. So, China, France, Russia, UK, US are permanent members. And there are the 10 non-permanent members that are appointed for the term of 2 years. And here geographical representation is given. Every region has been given certain number of seats. Now, when we talk about India, up till now, India has served 8 times. Up till now, India has served 8 times in United Nations Security Council. 8 non-permanent tenures India has spent, and this is the ninth for which India has applied. Now, permanent members, they have a veto. They have veto power. Any resolution, any decision, they can stall by using their veto. Now, India is talking about the expansion of United Nations Security Council. And in this capacity, there are certain things that you should be knowing. Certain things that you should be knowing. Basically, there is G4. There is G4. And in G4, there are 4 countries that we have. That is Japan, Brazil, India, and Germany. So in G4, we have 4 countries: Japan, Brazil, India, and Germany. They talk about the expansion of United Nations Security Council. They talk about expansion of United Nations Security Council and supports each other's candidature in the United Nations Security Council permanent member category. Also, there is L69. There is also L69. This is another grouping. Now, by the way, 69 does not mean that it has 69 members. It has 32 members. It has 32 members, and largely members are the underdeveloped or developing countries from Latin America, Caribbean, South America, etc., Asia also. So in L69, there are 32 member countries from Latin America, Caribbean, South America, Asia. These countries also talk about the expansion of United Nations Security Council. But on another hand, we have United for United for Consensus Movement. We have United for Consensus Movement, also called as Coffee Club. Also called as Coffee Club. Now, this Coffee Club says that expansion of UNSC should not happen. And here we have the countries such as Italy, Spain, Spain, Canada, Argentina, Pakistan. For example, Pakistan says India should not be given a permanent seat. Italy and Spain say that Germany should not be given a permanent seat. Fine. So, Coffee Club or United for Consensus Movement, they says UNSC should not be expanded. L69 and G4, they say UNSC should be expanded. Permanent seats should be expanded. Okay. So these are certain things that you should be knowing. Now, when we talk about United Nations Security Council, primary responsibility of UNSC is the maintenance of international peace and security, and it is only UN body that has power to make a binding decision. It can give a binding guidelines. Fine. Okay. So this is all about the UNSC, important things that you should be knowing about. Now, moving on, UNESCO. So basically, UNESCO was in news because of multiple reasons. UNESCO was in news for multiple reasons. And one of that is that recently US had said that they are again going to join the UNESCO. Earlier, US has withdrawn from UNESCO, and now US is joining UNESCO. And also, money that US has not paid to UNESCO, around $600 million. US says that they are also going to pay their pending dues to UNESCO. So basically, why first of all they are willing to join UNESCO again? It is because that under UNESCO, global treaty on artificial intelligence is being negotiated, and China is playing a major role in that particular treaty. Now US does not want to be left out. Okay, so US is again joining UNESCO. Now earlier they have withdrawn. Why? Because UNESCO inducted Palestine as a member. So therefore US withdrawn in protest. Now when we talk about UNESCO, it's headquartered in Paris. It is headquartered in Paris, and this particular body was established in 1945 Fine. And it aims to promote international cooperation in education, science, culture, communication, and information. It has 194 member countries, 12 associate members. India is one of a member country in UNESCO. Okay. Then moving to the next one. United Nations Human Rights Council was in news. It was in news because of the multiple reason. For example, Russia said that we want to join UNHRC. Earlier, Russia withdrew. Now they said that we want to join. It was rejected. Then new members, 15 new members have been inducted in the UNHRC. And then also, it was in news. Why? Because the Pakistan brought a Kashmir issue in UNHRC, and India said that why you are bringing Kashmir issue in UNHRC? It is internal matter of India. So, because of these particular reasons, United Nations Human Rights Council was in news. Let's discuss about it. So, when we talk about the UNHRC, its headquarters is at Geneva, and it was created by the UN General Assembly way back in 2006. And what is its objective? If you read the name, objective is to protect the human rights, to promote the cooperation in the human right protection. Now, it has 47 member countries, and right now India is a member country out of these 47 members. Now, these member countries, they are appointed or they are elected by the UN General Assembly. Now, when we talk about any member of the UNHRC, you see this particular thing that member is elected, it is appointed for a term of 3 years. 3 years, and you can serve maximum 2 terms simultaneously. It is, for example, suppose X country is appointed as a member, they can serve one tenure that is of 3 years. Then after that, they can serve one more tenure that is 3 years. In total, 6 years. Now they have to take a break, and only after taking a break, they again get re-elected. So one member country, their tenure is 3 years, and maximum 2 tenures they can serve consecutively. After that, they have to take a break. Right now, India is a member under UNHRC. Next, UN Peacekeeping Mission. UN Peacekeeping Mission. So guys, recently India sent all women contingent of UN Peacekeeping Mission to disputed conflict region Abyei. If you remember guys, Abyei already we have discussed in our video on places in news. So Abyei is a conflict-ridden area between Sudan and South Sudan. So here India has sent all women contingent, that is the women peacekeepers contingent. So therefore it was in news. Now guys, when we talk about UN peacekeeping, it got started in 1948. Now what is the UN peacekeeping mission? So basically guys, UN peacekeeping mission, it aims to build sustainable security and peace in countries which are affected with violence, which are affected with disputes or conflict. Now, when we talk about UN peacekeeping mission, it operates on three principles. It operates on three basic principles. Principle number one, consent of the party. Consent of the party. Now, understand this thing, UNSC can send a mission, or UNSC can send the troops even without taking the consent. But UN peacekeeping mission, if they are sending a mission, if they are sending a contingent, they have to take the consent of the parties of the country where they are sending it. So consent of the parties. Then the next is impartiality. Impartiality. And third is no use of force. No use of force except in self defense and defense of the mandate. Okay, so these are the three principles of UN peacekeeping. Fine. So this mission, it is sent in the countries where there is a dispute or conflict, and they aim to restore the peace there. Now guys, when we talk about the personals who are going in the UN peacekeeping mission, they have to ensure that they will protect civilian and other UN personnel. They'll monitor the disputed borders. They'll observe the peace process, provide security in conflict zone, and will provide security during elections. Now, when we talk about India, guys, India has contributed the most number of personals in UN peacekeeping missions. And in a lot of UN peacekeeping missions, more than 43, India has participated. Up till now, there are 71 peacekeeping operations that have been conducted worldwide since 1948. So 1948, UN peacekeeping operation got started, and since 1948 we see this particular thing, that there are 71 peacekeeping operations that have been conducted. Right now there are the 12 right now there are the 12 peacekeeping operations that are going on, and India has participated in around 43 of them. Okay, also there are some other developments that have happened in this particular capacity. What other developments have happened? So basically guys, so basically recently India started India started India ASEAN Initiative for Women in UN Peacekeeping Operations. India ASEAN Initiative for Women in UN Peacekeeping Operation. What this operation is? So it is a collaboration between India and ASEAN countries where they'll send more women in peacekeeping operations. Also, what happened recently, Indian Army, they commemorated the 75th International Day of UN Peacekeepers. 75th International Day of UN Peacekeepers was observed. Okay, and for 2023 theme was Peace Begins With Me. Peace Begins With Me. Okay, so few things. India has contributed one of the highest numbers of the personnel and have participated in more than 43 operations. Okay, and all women contingent was also sent. Where it was sent? Abyei region, disputed region between Sudan and South Sudan. Okay, now moving on to the next one. Moving on to next one. So United Nations Economic and Social Council for Asia Pacific, UNSCAP. Now, UNSCAP was also in news because it released a report that is India will lose 35% of its GDP due to climate change. Now, when we talk about the UNSCAP, so UNSCAP was established in 1947 by the UN ECOSOC. If you remember, we discussed already the UN ECOSOC, which was one of a principal organ under UN. So by UN ECOSOC, that is Economic and Social Council, fine, UNSCAP was established in 1947. Now originally its name was ECAFE, that is Economic Commission for Asia and Far East. It got renamed in 1974 as UNSCAP, which is its present name, and it is one of a there are 5 regional commissions which specifically focus on different areas. So there are the 5 regional commissions under the United Nations, and out of that 5, one is UNSCAP. Focuses Asia and Pacific region. Now headquarter is in Bangkok. Thailand. And what is the focus? Focus is to provide that. Focus is to help them in sustainable development. Sharing the knowledge, providing technical assistance, providing capacity building in these particular countries of Asia Pacific. Fine. Now it has 53 members. And India is one of a member. Focus is on Asia Pacific region. Focus is on sharing the knowledge with respect to sustainable development, ensuring capacity building of the member countries, providing them technical assistance for their development and growth. Okay, so this is about the UN ESCAP. And next is UN ECOSOC that we just discussed. UN ECOSOC established the UN ESCAP. So now let's discuss UN ECOSOC. So UN ECOSOC was also in news. Why? Because recently India got elected to UN ECOSOC for 22-24 term. Now, when we talk about ECOSOC, first of all, India got elected along with the India, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, and Oman also got elected in ECOSOC. So they got elected from Asia Pacific states category. Now, what is the objective of UN ECOSOC? So its objective is to guide sustainable development. And also it aims to coordinate the different agencies in the United Nations for the social and economic development. UN ECOSOC. When we talk about the composition of UN ECOSOC, so it consists 54 members. Members are elected for a term of 3 years and they are elected by the UN General Assembly. So you need to get minimum two-thirds of the vote in United Nations General Assembly to get elected as the member of UN ECOSOC. So out of 54 seats that are there, 11 are given to the Asian states. Now representation is on the basis of geography. So different geographical areas are given the specific number of seats. Asia is given 11 seats. Okay. Also, basically, the every member, fine, they have one vote, and president's tenure is 1 year. President's tenure is 1 year. So this is about the UN ECOSOC. Now moving on. So United Nations Commission on Status of Women was in news because recently Iran was removed from UNCSW because of the morality policing issue that happened in Iran. Because of the gender insensitivity of Iran, Iran has been removed from the UN Commission on the Status of Women. So therefore it was in news. Let's discuss about it. Now when we talk about the CSW, it was established under UN ECOSOC that we just discussed. It was established under UN ECOSOC. Now, it was established in 1946 and it was a specific body to ensure gender rights, to ensure that women are given all the congenial conditions for their development. Guys, you might have heard about Beijing Declaration. Question has already been asked on Beijing Declaration in UPSC prelims. So Beijing Declaration was adopted in 1995, which identifies 12 critical areas for concern for women. So Beijing Declaration talks about the empowerment of women. So implementation of Beijing Declaration is also done by the CSW, that is the Commission on Status of Women. It was established under UN ECOSOC in 1946 and a dedicated body for the promotion of gender equality for empowerment of women. Now, when we talk about India, India is right now the member in CSW and India was elected in 2021 for 4 years. So, 2021 to 2025, India is a member of, it is a member under the UNCSW. Now, it consists one representative from 45 member states. So, total how many members are there? 45. Out of the 45, one is India, and here also representation is given on the basis of geography. So geographical distribution is here. Now moving on to the next one. So next is FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Financial Action Task Force. Why Financial Action Task Force was in news? Because recently Pakistan was removed from the grey list under FATF. So what FATF is all about? Financial Action Task Force. Financial Action Task Force, it is a global initiative which aims to reduce money laundering as well as to deter to curb the terror financing. Now, what is money laundering? Money laundering is money laundering is a process where dirty money is treated so that it appears like a clean money. Now, there is a difference between dirty money and black money. Black money is that money on which tax has not been given to the government, okay, or the money that has been concealed from the tax authorities, from the government, that is black money. For example, I am doing some business and I am earning 100 rupees, but I report that I am only earning 50 rupees and I pay tax on 50 rupees only. So that remaining 50 is black money. But dirty money is that which is generated from illegal activities, that is the dirty money. So what FATF does? FATF, what it does, it aims to deter, to reduce this money laundering. It also aims to reduce the terror financing. Now, it was established by G7 countries in Paris, and it was originally established in 1989. Okay, its mandate got expanded in 2001 onwards. Fine. Now, when we talk about FATF, the highest decision making body of FATF is FATF plenary. Highest decision making body is FATF plenary, and it meets 3 times per year. It meets 3 times per year. Right now it has 39 members. It has 39 members, which includes European Commission and Gulf of Cooperation Council, GCC. Now Russia has been suspended. Russia has been suspended from its membership fine in 1 year back. Right now, 39 member, including these two organizations. India is also a full-time member. So India joined as observer state in 2006 and India became a full-time member in 2010. Okay, it issues 40 recommendations. 40 recommendations are issued by FATF to the different countries as how they can reduce the money laundering and all such kind of things. Now, countries which don't adhere to FATF's recommendations, they are put in grey list and blacklist. They are put in grey list and blacklist. First, what is grey list? Grey list are those countries which are the safe haven for supporting TF and money laundering. Also, then there is a blacklist. Now, blacklist contains non-cooperative countries which don't share any information, or the countries which are at all non-compliant. They are called as blacklist. Now, when we talk about blacklist, right now, Iran, North Korea, Myanmar, these are the three blacklisted countries. Grey list, there are multiple countries that are there. Pakistan has recently been removed. Now, FATF, its secretariat is located at OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, headquarters in Paris. So its secretariat is at OECD headquarters Paris. Now, these are the organizations which are the which have observer status. So first of all, now when we talk about observer status, Indonesia is a country which has observer status. Then Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund, International Organization for Securities Commission, Interpol, all they have observer status under FATF. All they have observer status under FATF. So this is all about it. Now moving on, next we have G20. So recently, you know that India hosted G20, okay, and therefore G20 was in news. So let's discuss all the important aspects with respect to the G20. Now, first of all, who are members of G20? The most basic question. Okay. So basically, guys, yes. First, we have here G7 countries: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, US. These are the G7 countries, group of seven. Seven advanced, industrialized, developed nations. You include one, Russia, we get G8. We get G8. Now in G8, if you'll add 12, you'll get G20. So in G20, we have Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, European Union, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, and Turkey. Okay. Just I'll advise you one thing, that pause the video for a minute and have a glance on these member countries just for 1 minute. And if in examination a question comes, you'll be able to eliminate the wrong option and you'll be able to choose the right one. So G8 plus 12, that is Argentina, Australia, Brazil, China, European Union, India, and likewise we have the members of G20. Now, so for 2023, India hosted the G20. 2023, India hosted G20. Now, what are the main outcomes of G20? First of all, theme of G20 2023, which India hosted, was Vasudev Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. Now, G20 as an organization was created in 1999 after Asian financial crisis that came. And objective of G20 was that the finance ministers, governors, or the chiefs of the central bank should come together so that they can predict any upcoming financial crisis. So initially focus was on the financial crisis avoidance, but over the years it has expanded its scope. Now a lot of things are being discussed under G20. For example, financial stability is being discussed, sustainable development is being discussed, climate change is being discussed, human rights are being discussed. Okay, now when we talk about the members, already members we have seen, India is a founding member under G20. Now what are the key outcomes? Number one is joint declaration, New Delhi declaration, New Delhi declaration, joint leaders declaration. Now, if you see, guys, the membership of G20, you know this particular thing that when we talk about the membership of G20 countries, so US and Europe is there. At the same time, China and Russia is also member of G20. Now, Europe and US, they say Russia-Ukraine war is because of the Russia. Russia says that Russia-Ukraine war is because of the NATO and US's interference. So, point is that bringing all the countries on board was very much difficult. Now, what happened? India, when they drafted the joint declaration, they neither took name of Russia as aggressor nor they took name of Ukraine and the West as aggressor. They said that the war is bad and it should be avoided. So all the countries have signed it. So New Delhi Declaration was a joint declaration that has been signed by all the countries, and it has also mentioned about accelerating progress on sustainable development goals, women empowerment, reforms in multilateral institution. You remember norms that we discussed? Then international taxation and global peace. These are the important items that were agreed under joint declaration. Then next, Global Biofuel Alliance was launched. Now, what is Global Biofuel Alliance? Global Biofuel Alliance is the grouping of countries which aims to promote the biofuel such as ethanol. Such as ethanol. Fine. Now, it was launched by India, and others countries which have also joined the Global Biofuel Alliance is Singapore, Bangladesh, Italy, US, Brazil, Argentina, Mauritius, UAE, and also one more thing, guys, that as of now there are the 8 members of G20 that has joined the Global Biofuel Alliance. So here it is written 7, not 7, 8 G20 countries are there which have joined: Argentina, Brazil, US, India, Italy, South Africa, Canada and Japan. Canada and Japan. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So out of 20 G20 countries, 8 countries have joined Global Biofuel Alliance, in which the countries will promote the consumption and manufacturing of the biofuels. Okay. So this is one important thing. Then guys, in G20 also IMEC was agreed. This we have also discussed in our video on places in news. So IMEC, it stands for India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC. Now this particular corridor will aim to bypass Suez Canal and Red Sea. So this will promote an alternative route between Asia and Europe via Middle East. Now this IMEC, India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, it will start from India. So Gujarat, Kandla and Mundra ports and Mumbai JNPT port, they will be connected. So basically India will be connected to UAE, and then through Saudi Arabia, Israel, a link will be made to Europe. It will contain roadways, it will contain rail networks, it will contain ports also. So basically what has happened, it will provide cost effective cross border ship to rail transit network between India, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel and Europe. And memorandum of understanding has been signed between India, US, Saudi Arabia, European Union, UAE, France, Germany, Italy. Okay, now this particular corridor will have two components. There will be Eastern Corridor and Northern Corridor. Now, guys, understand this thing. Some aspirants might have confusion, but you see this thing that Middle East is a linchpin. So, Eastern Corridor means east of the Middle East. So, India to the Arabian Gulf, this is the Eastern Corridor. Northern Corridor, that is the north of the Middle East. So, Arabian Gulf to Europe, this is the northern component. And this IMEC, it is a component of Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, PGII. Now, what is PGII? PGII is US-led program to counter the Belt and Road Initiative. So under Belt and Road Initiative, China is providing assistance to the member countries for infrastructure, and now US has come out with the PGII, and under PGII there is the IMEC that is there. It also got started under G20. Okay. Then in this G20, there is also one more important thing that has happened. That is, African Union has now got inducted. African Union has now got inducted. So if you will go to this particular picture, here we will include plus African Union, plus African Union. Now, when we talk about African Union, what is African Union? So African Union, it is a grouping of 55 African member states, and African Union, it is headquartered in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It was launched in 2002 as a successor of Organization of African Unity, and it aims to promote Africa's growth and economic interest. Okay, so African Union has become a permanent member under G20, permanent member under the G20. And guys, it is a second regional organization. So here if you see, we have European Union, which is a regional organization. So after European Union, African Union is a second regional organization that has got inducted. Now, moving on, Eastern Economic Forum. Now, Eastern Economic Forum meet happened, and recently India also virtually participated in Eastern Economic Forum meet. Now, what is this Eastern Economic Forum meet? So, it is hosted by Russia to drive investment in the far east part of Russia. Now, guys, when we talk about the far eastern portion of Russia, it is underdeveloped, and Russia aims to bring more investment there. So, this particular meet is organized, and Prime Minister also attended it virtually. So, it is hosted in Vladivostok, Russia, and it was established in 2015 to encourage investments into the far east part of Russia. Okay, now it aims to connect far east with the Asia Pacific region, and the important players which are investing here are China, South Korea, Japan, and India. And China is the biggest investor. China is the biggest investor here. So this is about it. And now moving to next article, BRICS. Then now BRICS was in news. Why? Two reasons. Number one, expansion of BRICS has happened recently. Expansion of BRICS has happened, and Argentina rejected the call to join BRICS. Argentina rejected the call to join BRICS. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about BRICS, it stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. South Africa. Originally, it got started as BRIC. And the idea was conceptualized in a Goldman Sachs paper in 2001 that these four countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, are going to be economies which will drive the world economic growth. So these four countries came together as BRIC. Okay. Now, BRIC countries, initially they started a dialogue in 2006. South Africa got inducted in 2010. South Africa got inducted in 2010. And the first summit of BRICS was held in 2009 in Russia. So first formal summit of BRIC, it got held in 2009 in Russia. The next year, 2010, South Africa got inducted. So first summit was without South Africa in 2009. And there is no permanent secretariat. Now, originally 4 members, then South Africa joined, and now there are other new countries also that have joined the BRICS. So now, who have joined? These were the original members. Egypt has joined, Ethiopia has joined, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. They have joined. So please focus on the countries that have now joined. New countries that have joined is Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Again, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. These are the new member countries that have joined. Okay, and some of the important initiative under the BRICS is New Development Bank, which provides the financing to the developing countries. Now, this New Development Bank does not only provide the funding to the BRICS member countries, it provides to the other countries also. It aims to rival the Asian Development Bank. And the contingency reserve arrangement is there, under which the short-term liquidity financial support is provided to the member countries. Okay, and next, SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So recently, 2023, India hosted 2 of the organizations, that is India hosted G20, also India hosted SCO. Okay, so SCO's summit was held virtually. SCO's summit was held virtually. Now, when we talk about SCO, so SCO got started in 2001, and originally it was started by Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Now, very simple way to understand is that, let's see guys, it has now in Central Asia we have 5 countries. Only one country did not join, that is Turkmenistan. So except the Turkmenistan, all 4 countries were there, plus Russia, plus China. So SCO got started with these 6 countries way back in 2001. Over the years, new countries have also inducted. For example, India and Pakistan, they got inducted in 2017. So 4 plus Russia plus China plus India plus Pakistan, 2017. And recent 23rd summit that was held, Iran has also got inducted. So now how many members we have? So 4 plus Russia plus China 6, then India plus Pakistan 8, and now Iran. So now we have 9 members. So why it is important? Because Iran got inducted under the chairmanship of India. Now, when we talk about SCO, so what is the structure of SCO? So there is the Council of Head of States. This is highest decision making body. Okay. Then there is a Council of Head of Government. This is the second highest decision making body. And there are 2 specialized organizations also that we have under SCO. That is Secretariat, which is in Beijing, and then the second is RATS. That is Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure. It is in Tashkent. Okay. Official language is Russian and Chinese. And headquarters are at Beijing, China. Now, what is India's contribution at this SCO meet that was held? So, number one, India has given that SCO should be led. So, the theme that India gave was towards a secure SCO. Now, this is acronym that was given by Indian Prime Minister, and secure stands for security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environment protection. So, secure SCO: security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, environmental protection. Also, New Delhi Declaration was signed. So this particular, now see, there will be many declarations by the name of New Delhi Declaration. So don't get confused. So New Delhi Declaration was signed to counter the terrorism, separatist activities, extremism, religious intolerance, xenophobia, and Varanasi, Kashi was declared as the tourism and cultural capital of SCO. And also Iran got inducted as ninth member. Already we have seen. So this is with respect to SCO. Now, moving on to the next one, IPEF, Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. Now guys, you see this particular thing, IPEF, TGII, Partners in Blue Pacific. These are the different names, but only this is one thing, that is we want to counter China. So to counter China, different initiatives are being started by the US and the West, and IPF is also one of them. Now you see this particular thing. So basically what happened recently, India, US and 12 other IPF members, in total there are 14 IPF members. First of all, let's see membership of IPF and then we'll go in this. So 14 member countries: US, India, Australia, Brunei, Fiji, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. So basically the major players in Indo-Pacific region are included here. China is not included, obviously it is against the China. So basically these 14 member countries are there in IPEF. Now they have signed agreement for supply chain resilience. Now see this particular thing. There is a lot of dependence on China on a lot of things. For example, in electronics, in APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients, and in many of the important things, there is dependence on China. So to reduce that dependence and to ensure the supply chain resilience, an agreement has been signed under IPEF countries, Okay. Now, moving on to the next one, NATO. So NATO was in news. Why? Because recently what has happened, recently the expansion of NATO happened. Recently expansion of NATO happened and Finland and Sweden, Finland and Sweden, they joined. Recently, Finland and Sweden, they have joined NATO and they have become 31st and 32nd member of NATO. So right now NATO has a 32 member countries. So it was established way back in 1949 by Washington Treaty. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So basically, NATO countries, they are a military alliance and an attack on any one country will be deemed as attack on all of them and all will come together in their self-defense. So originally, it was established as a military alliance against USSR. But post 1991, USSR collapsed, but NATO has continued. Now it has 32 members, that is 30 European nations plus US and Canada. Sweden and Finland has become the latest members. Now, one important thing is that which European Union countries are not the member of NATO. So basically, Austria, Cyprus, Ireland and Malta. These are not the, these are the EU, European Union countries which are not member of NATO. Very important. Please note it down. Now, moving on to the next one. Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA. So recently Indian Ocean Rim Association meeting was held and Sri Lanka is going to assume the chair of Indian Ocean Rim Association. Now what is this Indian Ocean Rim Association? So basically it is an intergovernmental organization which was established way back in 1997 and the objective is to ensure stability in Indian Ocean region. So regional cooperation, stability, sustainable development. It has 23 members. Basically, the countries on the rim of Indian Ocean, 23 members we have. Important thing to be noted is India is a member. India will take the chairmanship for 25-27. Then moving on. Now moving to the next one, and here we have United Nations Population Fund. So recently, United Nations Population Fund started the project for gender sensitivity in Rajasthan. So therefore, United Nations Population Fund was in news. Now, when we talk about the United Nations Population Fund, it was established in 1967 and headquarters is in New York, US. Objective of United Nations Population Fund is to secure sexual and reproductive rights for all, particularly for women and young people. Now, it publishes the World Population Report. And 2023 report was titled as 8 billion lives, infinite possibilities. Now, this particular report's highlight is that first of all, 68% of India's population is aged between 15 to 64. Some important aspects with respect to the mains examination rather we have here. So you can note it down and you can use it in the population related issues in GS paper number 1, GS paper 1 and 2. Fine. Total fertility rate has declined to 2. Life expectancy stands at 71 for male, 74 for female. Also, it provides this particular thing that life expectancy will increase to 77.2 years. Right? Globally, life expectancy will increase to 77.2 years by 2050. Okay, and migration will be the major population driver in high income countries, means US. Their population will largely increase because of the more incoming migration that will be there. 8 countries: Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Tanzania and DRC. They will account for half of the global population by 2050. Now, moving on, UNDESA. So basically, UNDESA has released the report that is World Social Report 2023, and because of that, it was in news. Now, when we talk about UNDESA, it stands for United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, and it is headquartered in New York, US, and it was established through the UN Charter. Through UN Charter. Now, what is its focus or its objective? Its focus is the implementation of sustainable development, and it is specifically focusing that how sustainable developmental goals by 2023 can be achieved. Now, it releases some other reports also, that is population and vital statistics report, World Youth Report. These reports are very important because questions on report have been asked multiple number of times. So, population and vital statistics report, UNDESA. World Youth Report, World Social Report, World Economic Solution and Prospectus Report. All these reports are released. Now, so now we have UN Commission on Population and Development. Why it was in news? Because recently it conducted its 57th session. So, UN Commission on Population and Development, it was established way back in 1946, and originally it was named as Population Commission. It was originally named as Population Commission. It got renamed in 1994 as United Nation Commission on Population and Development. Now, it has 47 members, 47 members, and they are selected by the UN ECOSOC. So, UN ECOSOC we have discussed multiple times earlier also. Please pause video and tell why we have discussed UN ECOSOC. Fine. With respect to which organizations we have discussed UN ECOSOC, please write it. Now, when we talk about India, India is right now the member of UNCPD, and India will stay member till 2025. And what its objective is? So, it monitors, reviews, and assesses the program of action on the International Conference on Population and Development. Okay, and also advises the UN Economic and Social Council. Next, UNCRC, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Now, first of all, guys, India has ratified United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child way back in 1990s. So recently what has happened? UNCRC observes Child Rights Week in Dibrugarh. So Child Rights Week was observed in Dibrugarh. Now, this convention was adopted in 1989. Okay, was adopted in 1989, and it talks about the child's rights, included right to life, right to health, clean drinking water, survival. Ratified by 196 countries, including India. Okay, now this particular committee of UNCRC, it meets in Geneva and it discusses the child-centric issues. India has signed as well as ratified this particular convention already. Now, moving on, next we have the World Food Program. Now guys, when we talk about World Food Program, so recently what happened, there are the two things that World Food Program was in news because it got its funding recently, and also India has signed an MOU with World Food Program with respect to sending wheat to Afghanistan. So basically, when we talk about World Food Program, it was established in 1961, and it is a partner under UN. What the objective is? Objective is to provide the food to hungry people. So it was established in 1961 as a joint program of United Nations and Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. So joint program by two, UN and FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. Headquartered in Rome, Italy. Headquartered in Rome, Italy. And it relies on voluntary donation from government, philanthropists, okay, corporates, etc. So that they give the funding and it will provide the food to hungry people. Now, it has also got Nobel Peace Prize in 2020, which shows a link between hunger and conflict. So, it got the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2020, and it releases some important reports such as Global Report on Food Crisis. Global Report on Food Crisis. Now, when we talk about India, India is a member under World Food Program, and India provides assistance, food grains to the World Food Program. Now, also World Food Program has initiated some innovative things in India. For example, Annapurti automatic grain dispenser, which is a kind of an ATM where you will just authenticate your biometrics and it will dispense the food. So this food ATM can be deployed at Kirana stores, it can be deployed at the Anganwadi centers, and basically it can eliminate the role of the fair price shops, a middleman also. So this is something which has been deployed by FAO. Okay. Then FAO, it engages in food insecurity mapping. Now, what is food insecurity mapping? It sees that where people are not able to get their minimum dietary energy requirement, MDER, minimum dietary energy requirement. It supports the government's poverty and human development monitoring agencies. Fine, it establishes the state level food security analysis units which track the regional hunger, regional food insecurity, etc. Okay, so this is the World Food Program. Then further, the next we have IFPRI. IFPRI. So IFPRI stands for International Food Policy Research Institute. International Food Policy Research Institute. So basically, International Food Policy Research Institute, IFPRI, it has said that there is a need for transformation in agriculture systems. You see this thing, every year population is increasing, but net sown area, it is reducing. There are climate extremes that are coming, water availability is going down. So agriculture has to transform itself if it has to provide food to so many people. So agriculture practices are to be transformed for a sustainable future, Now IFPRI, it was established in 1975, and it is a research center of consultative group on international agricultural research, headquartered in Washington DC. And it has more than 60 countries as its members. Okay. Now, it provides that food insecurity in the world is rising because of the man-made conflicts, COVID-19 disaster. Climate change is impacting. Climate change is impacting 72 million people. They are on the verge of being malnourished, undernourished. Fine. Then Russia-Ukraine war type situations. Russia-Ukraine war, it has led to the surge in food price, and many people are not able to avail the basic food entitlements. Fine. That is all about it. Moving to the next one. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR. United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So it was in news. And it has been news for multiple reasons. One reason is that it thanked India for taking care of Rohingyas intercepted in Andaman. UNHCR, it was established by the UN General Assembly in 1950. And UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, it is headquartered in Geneva. And what is its objective? Its objective is to protect the rights of the refugee people, to protect the rights of the refugee people, to protect the rights of the people who are trying to seek asylum. So, what it does, it works with the countries to improve and monitor refugees' condition. It monitors the asylum laws, policies. It aims to uphold the human rights. And it operates in 137 countries, including India. Now, guiding document of UNHCR is 1951 Refugee Convention and 1967 Protocol of Refugee Convention. India has not ratified the 1951 Refugee Convention. Okay, India has not ratified 1951 Refugee Convention. Now moving on, UNHCR, it notes 108 million people are forcibly displaced due to fear of persecution, forced migration due to social and climatic reasons have increased 21% higher than 2021. Okay, children account for 30% of the forcibly displaced people. Okay, simply what you can do, you can pause down the video and can take down these points specifically for mains examination. For prelims examination, you need not to go too much in detail, but for mains examination, you should take down these particular points. Now, moving on to the next one, World Bank. So, Indian American Mr. Ajay Banga is poised to become World Bank chief. So basically, Mr. Ajay Banga was nominated by the US President for the World Bank. Now, when we talk about World Bank, it was established in 1944, originally as International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD. It was established in 1944 as International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It was established along with the IMF. IMF was the other institution. Under the Bretton Woods Conference, they were established. Now, the World Bank, basically, it provides funding for sustainable solutions which can reduce poverty and can build the shared prosperity. Now, when we talk about World Bank, so basically World Bank has 5 wings, 5 developmental institutions within this. Number one is IBRD itself, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Second is International Development Association. Then there is International Finance Corporation. Then Multilateral Guarantee Agency is there. Then International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute is there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine. India is not a member of ICSID. ICSID. It releases some reports. The name of those reports have been given in the next slide also, that we will discuss. So in last, there is one separate slide for the reports. We will discuss there. So India is a member of World Bank. And next is IMF. IMF. Now guys, there are multiple organizations that have predicted the growth rate of India. IMF predicted that India's growth rate for financial year 24 would be 6.3%. By the way, this number is not that important because this growth rate depends on many factors. Export performance, global inflation, a lot of factors are there, and as these factors are dynamically changing, these particular numbers will do get changed. So these numbers are not that important. Now, when we talk about IMF, so IMF, it aims to promote global economic growth, it aims to ensure financial stability, and it aims to encourage international trade. So it also got established in 1945 along with the World Bank. Now, basically, when we talk about the IMF, so IMF releases these particular reports. Global Financial Stability Report, World Economic Outlook Report. Basically, IMF, it runs a facility, that is the Extended Fund Facility. Extended Fund Facility. Under Extended Fund Facility, it can provide funding to the countries which are on the brink of balance of payment crisis. So we have seen recently that the Sri Lanka was going through the financial crisis and IMF provided it funding under the Extended Fund Facility. So it's run Extended Fund Facility. Then also it runs Rapid Financing Instrument. What is Rapid Financing Instrument? Lending facility which provides rapid financial assistance to the member countries which are in financial crisis. Okay, and it is available to the countries which are facing the balance of payment crisis. Balance of payment crisis. Okay. Next, Asian Development Bank. So basically, Asian Development Bank has also talked about the growth forecast. Now, Asian Development Bank, it is a multilateral development bank. It is a multilateral institution established way back in 1966. And what its aim is to foster economic growth and cooperation. Now, Asian Development Bank, so basically does not only provides the funding to Asia, it extends beyond that also. Asian Development Banks, it provides loans, technical assistance, grants, fine equity investments, fine to the countries. Now also it provides the financing to private sector projects as well as the PPP. This is very important. Not only government projects, private projects also, PPP projects also get the funding under the ADB. Headquartered in Manila, Philippines. Headquartered in Manila, Philippines. Fine. Right now ADB has 68 members. 49 are within Asia Pacific and 19 are outside the Asia Pacific. World Economic Forum. So basically recently Davos meeting of World Economic Forum was held by the name, which is popularized by the name of Davos Meet. Now when we talk about Davos Meet, what the Davos Meet is? So World Economic Forum, every year in the month of January, they organize a meeting in the city of Davos in Switzerland. And that meeting is called as the Davos Meet, hosted by World Economic Forum. Now, when we talk about the World Economic Forum and Davos Meet, so it is an international non-governmental organization, and it was founded by Klaus Schwab, who was a German engineer and an economist. Now, under this World Economic Forum's Davos Meet, so political leaders, business groups, cultural groups, they come and they interact on a range of issues. Okay, it has no independent decision making power. It is just a platform to discuss the emergent themes. Fine. So headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. This meeting, Davos Meet, is held in the city of Davos, which is also in Switzerland. Fine. So this annual meeting, it is also called as by the name of the Davos Agenda. The next is OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. OECD we discussed also when we were discussing about the FATF's headquarter. We said that FATF headquarters are at the OECD Secretariat. So OECD has also talked about the India's growth forecast. Now, OECD stands for Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and it is a grouping of 38 countries that are committed to democracy and free market. Okay. Now, when we talk about the OECD, it was established way back in 1960 by 18 European nations, US and Canada, and now it has grown to 38 members. When we talk about its headquarter, it is in Paris. Fine. And India is not the member of OECD. This is a very important thing. India is one of the many non-member economies with which the OECD has a working relation, but India is not a member. India is not a member. Now, OECD also maintains a blacklist of nations which have uncooperative tax havens, which don't share the information with the member countries. Now, it also releases multiple reports that we will. Now, here guys, we have these reports. Now, just what I want you to pause this video, or better, please download this PDF and have a view on these particular reports. So here we have reports by the World Bank, Ease of Doing Business report, World Development report, Global Economic Prospect report, Remittance report, Ease of Living index, India Development update, Universal Health coverage, Service Trade Restriction index, then IMF, Global Financial Stability report, World Economic Outlook report, then OECD, Program for International Student Assessment it runs, World Trade Organization, World Trade Outlook indicator. Okay, World Economic Forum, multiple reports are released. Okay, what I want you that please pause the video and have a look on these particular reports for a minute, or better, please download this PDF and just read these reports at least 4 to 5 times. You will get an idea that okay, if a question comes in examination, you'll be able to successfully eliminate the wrong options. So let's talk about the World Economic Forum's report, Global Information Technology report, Travel and Tourism Competitiveness report, Global Competitiveness report, Enabling Trade report, Global Energy Architecture Performance Index report, Global Environment Performance Index, World Power Language Index, Inclusive Development Index, Human Capital Index, Global Gender Gap Index, BIS Bank for International Settlement, Global Financial System report, Financial Action Task Force, Global Money Laundering report. Now guys, all these reports that we have taken were in the newspaper in the last 1 year. So please don't ignore these reports at least. So this is guys all about it. I hope guys that the efforts that we are putting here are helping you, and I think that you are getting the utility out of this session. If you have liked the session, please do hit the like button, and also please leave your comments in the comment box. Thank you so much.